Woonsocket City Council voted to approve declaring every June in Woonsocket as Woonsocket Pride Month to acknowledge, support, and celebrate our LGBT plus community. We are happy that the city has taken this step in the right direction. Let us remind you that the LGBT plus Pride movement began because of a protest against police brutality led by LGBT people of color. On June 28, 1969, NYPD raided Stonewall Inn, which was one of the few bars in New York that was safe for LGBT plus people. Police came to arrest and harass same-sex couples who were dancing with each other. Typically, when they came into gay bars, they would check customers' IDs, verify their sex, and anyone determined to have male anatomy wearing what is considered as women's clothing would be arrested. On the night of June 28, 1969, the customers of Stonewall refused to show their ID or let officers check their sex, so police decided to take everyone to the station. Marsha P. Johnson, an African-American transgender woman, and Sylvia Rivera, a Puerto Rican transgender woman, were among the first people to resist this police raid. Their resistance sparked a series of uprisings known as Stonewall riots. The anniversary of these uprisings, which were initiated by and led by Black and brown LGBT plus folks, grew into the annual Pride festivals that happen across the country in June. We know that the LGBT plus communities across the nation still face harassment and abuse. People of color who are also LGBT plus face heightened levels of violence because of their intersecting oppressed identities. Last week, May 27, 2020, Tony McDade, a Black transgender man, was shot and killed in Tallahassee, Florida by a police officer. Our struggles are connected. Our communities are overlapping. We want to work in solidarity with all communities and populations in Woonsocket to realize the safety and liberation of all of us. Though City Council ultimately voted appropriately to declare June as Pride Month, we're disappointed in the commentary that led up to the vote. It was expressed by Councilman Cournoyer that, quote, "There's no evidence that I'm aware of that our good city engages in bias, prejudices, and homophobia." He went on to say that if he, quote, "was in this so-called community, I'd be insulted to say that I've been marginalized and have to be protected and coddled and all that other nonsense." While I think it's clever of him to frame his thoughts on oppression with language that appears to empower the LGBT plus community, the reality is that he is denying the very real lived experiences of all people who are part of oppressed communities and all forms of oppression. The erasure of homophobia, transphobia, racism, Islamophobia, xenophobia, classism, and so on is a form of gaslighting. We are being told that our experiences are not real, that there are no systemic factors contributing to the disparities we face, that our issues are exclusively on us as individuals. Not only is this ideology untrue, but it is dangerous for people like us. And it makes it that much harder for us to create systemic changes when there are people in positions of power who deny that there's anything wrong with the system in the first place. Councilman Cournoyer's comments reveal that we still have a lot of work to do to get people in Woonsocket to understand that oppression very much exists here. We want our elected officials and public servants to understand that oppression is not simply about hating people of certain backgrounds. It is the subtle beliefs that can shade your decision making. It is the disparate access to resources that allow everyone to live safely and well. It is the institutions that by design keep our communities on the margins. We demand that all city council members participate in continued education to learn more about racial inequity and oppression within Black communities, LGBT plus communities, and other marginalized communities. We demand that city council members make a more consistent effort to get to know our communities, not just during campaign seasons or photo ops. Woonsocket City Council, we need you to do better. Our lives are on the line.